Hello, 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 and welcome to Take Charge Tuesday. I am very excited to be with you here again on this wonderful and amazing Tuesday. And it is Tuesday, as everyone has been saying, and as I myself I've been saying it, and I've been way too excited about this. I don't know why. I don't honestly, I have no idea why this is so exciting, but it is. It's kind of exciting. And then I was doing the math for those of you who are like me, who think, huh, this whole two thing, wow, when it's 3 3 3 3 3, like, when will it be? And I actually said, and this is so dumb because I'm not that old, I was like, oh my God, I'm not even going to be alive when it's 3 3 3 3 3. And then I was like, oh, that's dumb. You're just going to be like, what am I going to be? 40, 54? I was like, that's, yeah, I'll still be here unless barring accident, I'll be here, which is the funny thing. So anyway, hopefully I'll still be here even doing this. But yes, so it is Take Charge Tuesday, and I hope that you all are enjoying this Tuesday as much as I have been, despite the fact that it's raining. I here in Northeast Ohio, if you're watching from anywhere else, today is Northeast Ohio. It's a rainy, dreary, not sunny day, and sunny days are my favorite. And today was just not. It was not having it. I don't think we saw any sun. I know I didn't see no sun, but it was beautiful. I actually got to open the windows and all that. But as of this moment, I have space heater on, so yeah, we're back to winter. But I'm sure it's going to freeze up and everything is going to be sad again. Yay! Because that's how winter works. But today we're going to be talking about advertising. Okay, so let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. I love ads, but I do not, under any circumstance, subscribe to the idea that ads are for everyone and that everyone should be running them and that they're the best way to find your audience and all that jazz. I think that ads are great and that people should run them, but I think that you should run ads after you have a proven concept, not a proven product, but a proven idea. So if you have something that you're like, I know that people respond to this combination of words and imagery and things like that, then maybe you should run an ad. But until then, maybe not, right? Test things out organically. Don't waste your money. I do not care how much money you have. I do not care how big your budget is. I do not want to see anyone wasting money. Okay? Got it? Nobody wasting money. That's Lindsay's goal, is to not have anybody wasting money. That said, we're going to talk about how to create some ads that are going to be useful to you because they're going to be written with a hook in mind. I do have an ads workshop that is happening right after this. So if you are watching this now and you're like, oh, well, this sounds like something I could get behind. Like, I could get behind doing some ads, but I don't know how to get started. I don't know what to do and all that good stuff. In that workshop, I will actually show you how to get started with Google Ads. But for right now, if you're going to run a Google ad, you're going to need your Google ad to have good, catchy headline. It needs to have good copy because you're going to be competing with someone, right? So if you win that bid, so if you win the flurry that happens in the 0.2 seconds that it happens after someone clicks the button on a search, if you win that bidding war, what happens next? Well, they're going to see an ad. They maybe see your ad and someone else's ad. And the question is, whose are they going to click on? And if you have the right headline with the right information, you could potentially be the one that they click on. And you can only do that, though, if you are very, very strategic about your headlines and try to think of your headlines as probably the most important piece of information that is going to be in that ad, barring ad extensions, which do increase your click rates by a lot, which we can talk about that. We're talking about that in the workshop. But if you don't have a good headline, an ad extension ain't gonna save you. And so what we want is for you to have a great headline. So I have a few notes here about the ways that I want you to think about writing a hook for your headline and think about that headline in a strategic fashion. Now, there are some changes coming to Google Ads over probably towards the end of the summer. That is not something we're going to be talking about here in particular, because you got between now and like probably 5 or 6 months from now before you're going to need to change anything. And so in the time between now and then, you need to be running good ads if you're going to be running them. So let's talk about how to create a great headline. So number one, you want to be thinking of the number one headline, the headlines that you're writing. You get to choose, you get to select a few headline options. When you're writing your headlines, you want to think of them as a subject line or a title, right? So the headline needs to be an introduction to whatever it is you are doing in a very clear and significant fashion. Someone needs to be able to read the headline essentially and know that the answer to their question is after the click. If someone is doing a search, it is extremely important that the headline line up with whatever the search criteria is that they put into the search bar. The search results page, which is what it shows up whenever someone makes a search, that page needs to be you're showing your position on that page needs to show as much as possible what exactly that person is searching for. I like to use very simple terms here. If someone types in turmeric into the search bar and you have an ad for your spice shop, you need to make sure that the headline that is delivered to that person who typed in turmeric, somewhere in there is the word turmeric. It needs to be very, very lined up with what they are looking for. And it not just needs to be turmeric, it needs to be something with the word turmeric that is going to catch their attention. Not just the word turmeric, but something that is going to catch their attention. Okay. It needs to be a combination. So point number 2 is that it needs to be a combination of the word and some sort of emotion. That is a really fantastic way to write a hook. Getting someone's attention. Yes, the ad itself is going to put you in the top, which is going to make sure that you're going to get, before they even have a chance to scroll, you're going to get seen in that top 3 spots, one of those top 3 spots. But what emotion, what engagement, what are you giving them to make them want to click on it? So if we're talking about turmeric, think of words that are going to drive emotion around turmeric, like how to use turmeric to make your meals tastier, right? So the best turmeric to make your meals tastier, or the best turmeric from a specific place. Something along the lines of making sure that people understand that the turmeric that they're clicking on, especially if they're purchasing, or if someone has typed in how to use turmeric and your ad is a response, like some sort of recipe or recipe book or something like that, then you want to talk about how the turmeric is applied. Essentially, your headline is a way for you to add context to the search. And you can do that clearly if you're using good keywords. Now, that's a whole separate conversation. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're using the best keywords possible, that we're aligning those keywords with our headlines, but that we want to make sure that we're putting them in the context of the search. So if someone is searching how to, then you need to make sure that your headline is an answer that is something that tells them that when they click, they're going to get the answer to how to. If they're searching for a thing, then they need to be sure that when they click on that link, that the thing that they're searching for is going to get delivered, right? So turmeric is a very difficult one. And I know that a lot of you might have something along those lines where you're like, well, if someone types in a specific, that's kind of a very generic word, then what happens? Like, what do they mean when they type in turmeric? What context are they even having? So this is where we're going to get a little bit more specific about our own keywords so that we're not being so general that we can't write a good headline that is going to be able to drive action. Very fortunately for us, you can have virtually as many ads as you want, right? Google is not saying to you, oh, you're restricted, you can only have 4 ads. So if you have a bunch of different ways that someone could write a question about turmeric that you can answer with one specific page on your website, then the job now is to write a bunch of different keywords that could then answer those questions that someone might type in to get to that page, and then write headlines to address each of those keyword phrases so that you're matching and drawing in emotion with each of them. But you cannot have the emotion without the context. You need to know what it is that someone is actually looking for, like what and why, in order for you to add in the emotion. So, for those of you who are still paying attention, what and why, so that you can add in the emotion on the other side of that. You just have to be very strategic about the ads when you're starting. So, everyone thinks that doing ads is about the manual process of creating the ad. And I'm here to tell you that that is probably the last step, is to actually go through and manually create the ad. This part where we're talking about here, where you're crafting a good headline and figuring out your keywords to match your headline and to match what your page is, that's the real work. And that's the stuff that you should be doing in advance of ever running an ad. So before you ever click, set your budget and start your ad, before you do any of that, you need to have this part taken care of. Okay. So the third thing that you want to do is to open with an action. So if and whenever possible, when you're writing your ad, action verbs, like using a verb as the thing that you are starting your sentence with, starting your headline with a verb, is really fantastic. Now, again, we talk about calls to action all the time in marketing, and I am not talking about click here or download, unless you're selling something like an app, in which case, yes, download is a great first word for your ad so that someone can download your app or download whatever the thing is that you're selling that is a thing that is downloadable. But if you are selling turmeric, you may not want to start with the word click unless you're going to say click here in order to get the best turmeric that you've ever tasted in your life, which is a very long headline. You probably can't get that into the characters that you have available. And so you want to be thinking something other than click, but there are tons and tons, the English language, or whatever language you speak, but the English language has a ton of verbs. And so you want to be thinking about what the action is that you can add in to your headline in order to make it a more attractive statement, something that's much more of a hook, right? So hooks always start with a verb. They start with some sort of action. They're getting you engaged and involved right from the start. So there's some sort of emotion. You're already leveraging the keyword already. Before we even get started, that keyword is in there. And then we're going to be making sure that we're starting with a verb, starting with an action, something that is going to be engaging. Now, the next thing is that you want to make sure that it's simple. Now, this again it's a headline. You only have so many characters, but now that I'm telling you all these different tricks, you might want to go into the thesaurus or dictionary.com and start looking up verbs and looking up words. And what I want you to do, even if you do that, is to keep it simple. When you find words, make sure that they're words that regular people will understand. In the off chance that you are selling something that is very complicated to people who are inordinately smart and know all of your keywords, all the words that you're using, like inordinate. So if you're the person who's writing that to the audience who knows that, then fine, use that word. But if you are not, and if that audience is not, then do not use that word. Keep things very, very simple. You only have so many characters. And so you want to be as simple as possible with your language. You also want to be as simple as possible as to not confuse people. You are trying to get a large audience with this ad that you're putting out there. And when I say a large audience, I'm not talking about, all the people in the world or whatever. I mean, just whoever it is that you're targeting with your ad. And yes, you can do targeting with your advertising. Whoever you're targeting with your ad and whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish, you don't want to alienate those people by using words and phrases that they don't understand, or by using inside jokes or inside baseball language, things that they will not get. right? You want your audience to understand what it is that you're trying to do, what you're saying with your ad, and you want them to feel welcomed into your website by using words that are going to be simple for them to understand, concepts that are going to be simple for them to understand. If you get too complicated, you could potentially lose people, and not at all in a good way, right? It is absolutely fantastic in a pay for click model that you don't have to pay for things when people are not clicking. But that doesn't mean that you need to be striving for people to not click. That's never the goal. The goal is to get as many people who are the eligible people, who are the right audience members, to click on your ad. And if you are alienating those people by using language that they don't understand, that is not a good thing. So making sure that you are making your content, your headline, as accessible as possible, something that everyone will be able to understand all the words that you are using, and that it is simple to understand, and that it's simple to understand at a glance. Because as I always say, people are not reading everything. They're not, by a long shot, they're not reading it. And so whatever it is that you're writing, you want to make sure for your headline that it is as simple and scannable as possible, which means using shorter words and using very common words so that people will understand exactly what's going on in your ad. And then lastly, your hooks can be a question. Now, this one's really fun for me because I love a good question hook. Now, even with a headline, you can have a question. And that is something that I think is very, very useful. If your question is essentially answering the query that someone has with a question that is going to help them know that you are the answer to their problem, right? So if someone is looking for, I'm going to use a very obscure example. If someone is looking for an apple red bridesmaid's dress, right? Then your headline for your ad, if you're going to be doing an advertisement for your apple red bridesmaids dresses that you sell, you could have an ad where the headline is, are you looking for short, medium length, or long? We have all three, right? So that would be a great headline when you know that someone is looking for an apple red bridesmaid's dress, but they did not put a length in there, right? That is a fantastic way for me to go, I don't know. Now I'm willing to click on that and say, let me look and see what is available. What are the options that the store has available for me in short, medium length, or long, right? So that is one way of using a question as a headline in an ad. And yes, you can use a question. So as long as I think you might have some punctuation challenges there. Plus, with ads, with headlines, I rarely use punctuation at all, because punctuation does not matter. Like, people are not reading your headline and going, there should have been a comma in there. You only have so many characters. If you're writing something that has complicated punctuation, start over, do something else. But you don't need the question mark in there for people to know it's a question, right? So having the ability to add in things like a question, or started out with essentially starting a conversation using your headline, is one of the best ways to approach your headline so that you're going to get the most clicks from the right people as possible. We do not want people who are not the right audience who are clicking on our ad. That is not something that we're interested in at all. Now, there are a lot of tools available and things that we are not covering here today that can help you make your ads even better. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about those things in just a few minutes. So there's going to be a workshop, and I'm going to drop in the link for it into the chat. There's a workshop that's going to be happening in approximately 11 minutes as of my clock right now. And in that workshop, I'm going to be talking about ways to hone in on your description. We're going to be doing a little bit of back and forth over headlines, because I believe very strongly that you should be thinking about your headlines. You have a few of them that you can write. And so I want people to be writing as good headlines as they can, and making sure that they're as applicable as possible. So if you're interested in trying that out, if you're interested in learning more about Google Ads in general and how you can actually apply them to your business, then I want you to head on over to the workshop. Join us. We're going to be talking about that. We're actually going to be, again, diving into ads I'm a big fan of show and tell. So if you've never actually seen the inside of the ads platform because it's scary, I'm going to be showing what that looks like. So feel free to join us, hang out with us. We would love to see you there. And with that, unlike last week, y'all, last week I was cutting it so close, I actually was late to my own workshop. So this week, I am going to make sure that I'm cutting out a little bit earlier, but I'm going to pop that link in so that you can join us in this workshop and really get something out of it. Hopefully you'll get some more information about how to make sure that you're running really good ads. And if you've never done it before, get the information that you need in order for you to be successful with starting. I know starting is always the hardest part with advertising, and I'm looking forward to helping you figure out how to start. That's where we just need to get started. What is it? You have to start to be great. We just got to get started. If you're interested in running ads, this is the workshop for you. So I will see you in a few minutes in the workshop. And other than that, I will see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you on next Take Charge Tuesday. Bye, everyone.